But I always had that like feeling of not belonging. I'm an only child, so I didn't have any brothers or sisters.
I thought I was the only one. I didn't know that about you. That's interesting.
Yes. And although that did give me a sense of entitlement, it also gave me a lot of loneliness, right? By the time that I was about 11 years old, I went through my first traumatic experience. I was sexually abused. And very shortly after that, he overdosed. And he was the first person that I ever knew to overdose. Because I had that trauma that I had never dealt with, I was searching for more. And it wasn't long after that the consequences started to add up. I was a woman in active addiction. I could get what I want, and, so I did. And that put me in some really dark places.
What is up, YouTube family? We are back with another edition of our High on Jesus podcast today. We have an amazing guest with us, Sonya Johnson. Stay tuned. You do not want to miss this. By the time this gets aired to you, it will be after 4th of July, so I hope you had a great 4th of July. You are here today with Justin Time with Justin Halas.
Austyn with a Y.
And our guest, Sonya. Hi, Sonya.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for being here. Appreciate you taking your time. I know me and Austyn have known you for a while, and we know you have an amazing story, so thank you for being willing to share that with us. And, man, we'd love to get into it. A little bit about you. We know you're a woman of God. That's huge in recovery. You take that very seriously. You've been married to your husband for 17 years. That's pretty impressive.
Yes, it is.
That's trophy level. And you're a mother of 2 boys.
Yep.
And you work at NAMI as the Community Peer Programs Director. And NAMI stands for the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And that's in Sarasota and Manatee County here locally. That is awesome. We know you're a recovery rock star. Everybody knows you in Sarasota. That you're an author. You're gone viral on social media. What haven't you done? So, yeah, we're looking forward to.
God is good.
Amen.
I love to see the pictures of your sponsorship family, within the program, and it's just inspiring to see that you make time for all of those.
Yes. Having a support network is so important in recovery. Yeah.
So you've accomplished quite a bit. And we'll say while we're filming, almost 7 years clean and sober. So you're celebrating that on July 1st. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is a huge accomplishment. It's so great to see. And just like she said, just such a model to the other ladies in recovery that it is possible that you can navigate careers and families and responsibilities and chaos and still stay sober and locked in. So that's amazing. I'm very, very proud of you. So we'd love to hear some of your story. Personally, I think I'm the most intrigued by the part where you and your husband, you used together in the past and now you're sober together in the present. I'm sure that's got its own set of challenges that go with that. But man, can you just take us back to the beginning a little bit? Just maybe a little bit about your childhood. When did drugs and alcohol become a part of your lifestyle?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. I love being here with you guys. I love everything you guys are doing as well. And, all of the things that you just mentioned were not a part of my life many years ago. Like, it took a lot of hard work to get here, and a lot of women in my life that led the way, that showed me what it means to be a woman of recovery and a woman of faith, and to be employable and a wife and a mother, and all of the things that I am today. I learned from someone who came before me, and even some people that came after me too. But, I'm a Sarasota native, so born and raised in Sarasota. My parents were also born and raised in Sarasota, so we have roots here. And, I had a pretty good childhood for the beginning years of my life until I was about 8 years old, but I always had that feeling of not belonging. I'm an only child, so I didn't have any brothers or sisters.
I thought I was the only one. I didn't know that about you. That's interesting.
Yes. And although that did give me a sense of entitlement, it also gave me a lot of loneliness, right? Because I didn't really have people to hang out with when I was younger, other than the kids on the street. And so I think that probably led to some of that feeling of not belonging anywhere and wanting to fit in. And by the time that I was about 11 years years old, I went through my first traumatic experience. I was sexually abused, and that catapulted things. Like, it started a sequence of events in my life. And I didn't realize this until I was actually in recovery and had done some work on myself. But my drug addiction began with that experience, because that person that sexually abused me gave me cigarettes and he gave me drugs, and he used that as a way to manipulate me. Wow. So now, looking back in hindsight, I can see that that's where it all began, and it really just kind of spiraled from there. So after that, you know, I got into my first relationship, fell in love for the first time. I was with him for 4 years, and I got pregnant by him. I almost had a baby, but we lost the baby. And very shortly after that, he overdosed. And he was the first person that I ever knew to overdose. And this was back in 2003.
Died.
2003.
Yeah, overdose and died. What happened is he took 1.5 pain pills, but it was back in the oxy days. So he took 1.5 oxy 80s, and it was too much for him. And the next morning, he wasn't awake, and his sister found him on the couch, passed away.
Wow.
So that was really traumatic, you know, and although I was dabbling at the time, right, like I thought I was having fun and experimenting, but that was one of my first like rude awakenings that this is what happens when we use, you know, but I don't think I was ready to see that yet. So I just continued. Like, I've learned that that was my pattern. So I went from being sexually abused to searching for love in all of the wrong places for many, many years. After him, I got into an abusive relationship. I was in that relationship for 5 years. During that time, I met my husband, but of course he wasn't my husband back then, but he was my friend. And I was just telling my son this yesterday. He was actually dating my best friend.
Interesting.
Yeah. So when I would fight with my boyfriend that we were together for 5 years, whenever we would have a big fight, my husband would come and save the day, right? Like, he would come and break it up and come swoop me up sometimes. And it was just God working in our lives. Like, funny enough, so he's from Georgia. He's an old country boy, Southern boy. He grew up in a place called The Bottom in Georgia. And literally, it was called The Bottom.
I'll have to pass through there.
Yeah. So he moved down here when he was 16 years old. And the day that I moved out of my mom's house, I was moving in with my best friend, and the two of us were getting an apartment together. We didn't talk about this beforehand, but I brought my boyfriend and she brought her boyfriend. And that's how I met Steve.
Oh,
so,
okay.
yeah. So anyways, like, long story short, I eventually broke up with the abusive boyfriend, and the timing was right. He had broken up with her, and we started hanging out, and the rest is history.
That's awesome. I love that story.
Yeah. So in the beginning of our story, we were both using by that point in time, you know, like, as I said, we were partying. We didn't think it was a big deal, but we wanted to move away and have a fresh start at life. So we moved to Georgia, and we lived there for the first 6 years of our life. And in the beginning, like, the idea was just to get off the drugs, to start a fresh start, to have a new life together. But what I've learned about addiction is that no matter where you go, there you are. And so even though that was our intention to get away from the drugs, I really didn't have a desire to change. So it wasn't long before we started using again, and I found the people and the places and
The things.
the things, exactly. Yes. And then about a year later, I got pregnant. And because I had lost a baby already, I didn't want to lose this baby. Yeah. And I knew the only way that I could have a baby was to get off the drugs for a little while. So I came down to Florida to visit my mom, detoxed off of the drugs, and then I had my firstborn son in 2008.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So would you just white knuckle it during that time and just somehow just didn't use, just on willpower
white knuckle
alone? Yeah.
Yes, because addiction is progressive, right? So back in those days, it was the early days of my addiction, and I could do that. Later in life, that did not work out. There was no stopping, like, against my own will, you know, but back then I could. So I did.
Gotcha.
And then the next year we got married, and then the next year after that, we had our second born son. And, you know, I had the fairy tale for a little while. He's always been a hard worker. He's always been a good man, and he worked really hard, took care of us. I was a stay-at-home mom, took care of the family, had 2 kids under 2, so that was crazy.
Can only imagine. And is he stopped as well during that time frame?
Yeah, he stopped. So when I stopped, he stopped. Now, I will say, like, he was smoking weed, you know, kind of like doing a little bit, but we weren't doing hard drugs. Yeah. And back then, like, we thought that was okay, right? Because those are also the things that we tell ourselves when we have an addiction, like we'll substitute, or it won't be as destructive, or we'll just do it on the weekends, you know, all of those things. Mm-hmm. So we had just been smoking weed, and then eventually, even though I had the life that I wanted, you know, this was what I always wanted ever since I was a little girl. I grew up like watching Cinderella, and I wanted my knight in shining armor to come and rescue me and give me a life in a castle somewhere, you know. And I had that. Yeah. Like, we had a great life, but because I had that trauma that I had never dealt with, I was searching for more, you know. And so I came back down to Florida again for a visit. And I ran into, got him, exactly. That's what happened. Ran into a person, went to a place, and then I did a thing. And that was it. I was like, I got to move back here. So I told Steve that I missed my family and I wanted to come home, and talked him into it. It took about 6 months, but talked him into it. And we left our safety bubble because, you know, things were okay up there. We left our safety bubble and we came home. And I just was off to the races. He didn't quite know it yet, but eventually he caught me, and then he caught me, and then he caught me, and then he joined in.
Yeah.
So that started, you know, us using heavily. Like, we got into doing meth. We were doing cocaine, like all the drugs.
Uppers at that point, or
more, yeah. I mean, I've never discriminated against what I'm doing. It's just whatever that time period was, you know. And in that time period, it was the pill mill days and like the stimulants, and just meth was kind of coming onto the scene. And so we were kind of dabbling in all of that. Well, actually, we were going full blown into it by that point. And it wasn't long after that the consequences started to add up. Like, this is where addiction really took hold of me. And even though, like, I wanted to be a good mom, I wanted to have that taste, the taste that I had of life when we were in Georgia. I wanted that, but I also wanted this. And you can't have both, you know, it's one or the other. Like they say, like, give up one thing for everything, or give up everything for one thing. Yep. And I got to experience giving up everything for one thing. So for the next 5 years, that's what I did. I started giving away everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So then DCF got involved.
Where's you lose your kids during any of this? Yeah.
We couldn't pay our bills. I was cashing checks. Back then, we had a bank account. So I would go to Publix and like write a check and then cash it, but there wasn't any money in the bank. And so we started accruing up debt. Then we couldn't pay our bills. And then, you know, my neighbor saw me using and called DCF on me. And the first time...
You nodded out or something?
Well...
It's out of your mind.
I think she saw me... Honestly, I think she saw me like holding up a pipe in the air, like smoking it. And she knew that I had kids at home because the kids used to play in like the little area. We had like these duplexes in Lake Sarasota, and they play in this area. So she knew I had like babies at home. You know, they were probably like 3 and 5 at the time, maybe 4 and 6. And so initially when DCF came out, like I said, like I had a taste of life and I knew I wanted to be a good mom. I love my kids. Never, and I know I don't have to tell you guys this, but maybe our viewer or somebody needs to hear this. There was never a day ever in my addiction where I did not love my children. Mm-hmm. I always loved my children. Yeah. I just didn't love me, and I didn't know how to be a good mom. So... Sure. You know, initially when DCF showed up, they wanted us to work some services, take drug screens, like comply with all the things.
Curious, like, did they give you a chance? Like, so if you don't mind me asking, do they come and they say, hey, you have to take this test, and then they see you're dirty and then they give you options? Is that how it works for the first one? Yeah.
I mean, in all fairness, they tried to do the right thing by our family. You know, like they came, the woman had 2 drug tests in her hand. I knew what time it was, you know? So So I decided like the best route was just to be honest with her and be like, listen, I'm using, I don't want to be using, I don't know how to not use, help me. And she did. So she said, okay, I'll come back in 45 days. If you can pass this test, we'll close the case. So
I did not get that option.
No?
well, so
One and done, first time?
Yeah.
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 I think it also depends on who you run into because
We
I
were
had
not
other
married.
experiences.
The father in my case we were not together, so he was not supportive. It was very like an attack, so it seemed like DCF was on his side. Now, however, I did have a DUI years ago with my 3 kids in the car, so I think it had to do with maybe being habitual. It had been so many years, but they made the right call.
Did the kids go to your
Billy,
father's house?
yeah, they
Maybe
did.
that's the difference.
That's the
they
difference.
were both using yours. They had like a spot to go to potentially. Maybe
Yeah.
that had
Yeah.
something to do with it.
Yeah, but I mean, looking back, they made the right call. Like I have to.
I appreciate y'all being honest about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I have mixed thoughts on DCF, but
Yeah, I've heard many good, bad, and ugly stories about it.
I
But
think
you're at
they
least
had
saying
good
that
intentions, but some of the case managers,
that's
gonna say,
exactly
it
what
probably
it is.
depends.
Yeah.
if
the
their-
people.
If their heart's
It's not
in
the
it,
program.
It's the people.
It's the
care,
people.
yeah,
Yep.
and want to help.
It depends on who shows up at your door because the way the policies are written, now I know a little bit about the system. You know, the way the policies are written, they're supposed to do reasonable efforts to keep your children at home and do the least intrusive thing possible without removing them.
Yep.
But it depends on, has the caseworker, are they having a bad day? Like, did they just
I
see
think mine
something
had a bad day
traumatic?
every day.
Yeah, because they're like that.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
they say that reunification is the ultimate goal, and I never felt that way. Like I felt every day with Tristan that the goal was to put her with her father. Like I never once, until she got removed from my case plan and I got someone else, that was the day that my reunification started.
Wow.
Yeah, I
That's unfortunate.
100% believe
She
that.
no longer works for them. So
Yeah. And that's what happens. Like they get jaded, they get burnt out, they have all of these kids and all of these parents on their case plan. And if they're not doing a good job, they're going to get burnt out, right? Because who wants to show up at work every day and like go through all of that? Or do you really want to make a difference? Because if you're going to be in that profession, you better really want to make a difference, you know? Like, could you imagine if we all went to work every day and just hated all of the addicts? And you know what I'm saying? Like, it wouldn't work that way.
Shame. That's a
When
good,
I was-
good point.
Yeah.
when I was going through that, I honestly was like, I should do this for a living. And then I realized like there's no way I could bring that home every single day. It takes a very special person.
It's PTSD. built
You know,
up.
I couldn't
a lot of
imagine.
things.
Mm-hmm.
I've also heard DCF stories where the people try to blame the DCF workers, but
Yes.
really it's their fault. But
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens
that.
too.
Well, and that could be it too. Like in the beginning, I wasn't
Yeah.
wholly honest, but I, you know, a weekend I was like, you know what, I'm in this, but I felt like she was already against me. But you know,
so I'm interested in this. So you get the 45 days.
Yes. So I get the
what
45
happened?
days, and that woman was really nice, right? So I got a really nice lady the first time, and they just did an investigation. 45 days later, she came back. I took the drug screen. I passed, not because I was clean, but because she called on the way and said, "Hey, I'm coming." I'm like, "Oh, I'm ready for you. Come on."
Did you hit the Richards Whole Food Markets? Get the
Yes,
cleaner?
yes. I had a whole strategy for how to do that back then, but that wasn't the right thing. But anyways.
Man, all right. So
Yes.
that's interesting. So you pass.
So I passed.
Did
they
he
closed
pass?
it. He passed.
Okay.
Yep. They
You guys were
closed it.
Both ready to go then.
Yeah. Oh, I was prepared for him.
Gotcha.
I don't
All
remember
right.
any
Yes.
warnings. Hey, y'all, you've heard us talk about our nonprofit Hand Up to Victory. I am here to tell you that it changed my life. I don't know where I would be without it. So below is a link to handuptovictory.org. Please click on that link and go to the donations tab. You may save a life, change a life. And I am living proof. So handuptovictory.org. Please donate if you can.
5 days later,
Oh no.
we got into a fight in the middle of Clark Road, and the kids were in the back seat of the car over a check, by the way. And that prompted DCF to come back out. And they still tried. Like, they still tried to do
Really?
the right thing. They told us we could keep the kids in the house as long as we would go to the classes, take the drug screens, and try to do the right thing. but I didn't know how. I didn't know how to stop using. I never met anybody in recovery. I didn't know that recovery was possible. Everybody in my life was using or drinking. So it was the only life I knew by that point in time. And so I did what they wanted, but I still used, and I faked every single drug screen. And they knew. They were not stupid.
Right.
So about 8 months into what was only supposed to be a 6-month non-judicial case plan, they're like, well, I tell you what, we'll close this today if you take a hair follicle test.
Got him.
Got him. Yeah. So
Out of the games.
Yeah. So I Google searched it, and I'm like, why are they asking me to take a hair follicle? And Google said they were trying to use it in court. So we just decided, what are we going to do? If we take it, they're going to take our kids. If we don't take it, they're going to take our kids. So we need to figure out, what do we do with the kids? Yeah. So we sent the kids to live with my mom, and we didn't take it. And they closed our case in non-compliance. And that, it just sent us both spiraling. The kids didn't go into the foster care system, and I'm so thankful for my mom. She stepped up and she kept our family together.
Was she just like, okay? Or was she like, what are you guys doing, and give you a hard time about it?
She was okay. Like, she wasn't happy about it for sure. But I think at that point she knew that there were no other options. It was either she takes the kids or the kids are going into the system. Yeah.
Thank God for moms.
Amen.
Thank God for moms. Yep. Yes. And still today, like, she shows up, she helps in every way possible. She has been our biggest advocate. When I think about our experience of going through the system, like, as traumatic as it was, and now what I see other parents going through with their children, my mom made that experience less traumatic because she made the visitations
100%.
regular. Like, she made everything just seemed normal to me as long as I did what I needed to do, because my mom kept me out of the bureaucracy of it, So thank God for moms. Yep. Shout out to my mama.
And mine back there.
Yeah. Yeah. So after that closed, it just sent us spiraling. Yeah. And this is where things really got bad for our marriage. And I thank God every day, because God is truly what kept our marriage together. So we started using, all bets were off. The ways that we used got worse, right? Like, we were doing it in the worst kind of way possible, doing the worst kind of drugs possible. Didn't never really know if what we were getting was safe. Like, you just never know. Like, it was right before the fentanyl days had started, which I also thank God for that. But, so Steve started to get really sick. And he started to get like really high fevers, and then he would be under the blankets, like shivering and shaking, but sweating at the same time. Like, his color had gotten gray. I could tell that something was really wrong with him, not just dope sick.
So it wasn't just withdrawal.
No, because I was very familiar with that by that point in time, and it was not just withdrawal. Like, even when he would use, it wouldn't go away. It would just get worse. So what we figured out was, number one, he needed to go to the hospital. So we took him to the hospital, and we figured out that he had a staph infection in his blood. Yeah. So the staph infection had spread. By the time that we got him admitted into the hospital and got him kind of situated, and they started running all the tests, we figured out that the staph infection had spread through his heart, into his lungs, and into his kidneys. His kidneys were in acute kidney failure. And then he had endocarditis from the infection in his heart, and his lungs were full of this just infected fluid. So he was just,
My wife knows all this stuff well. She works at the hospital. She's seen stuff like that.
Yeah.
He could have died.
Oh, for sure.
That. Yeah.
Yeah. Every day we didn't know if he would be alive the next day when we went to visit him. And by that time, I was an addict in active addiction. Like, I had track marks all over, probably didn't wear shoes half the time I went to the jail, showing up looking like a hoe. And so it wasn't long. The hospital's like, she can't come up here anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, it's bad if they say that, because they're pretty lenient.
Yeah.
Did they ever think that you might be bringing things in there for him?
That's exactly what it was. Yeah. No, I didn't. No, because, well, number one, like I wasn't going to be that person because I knew that he was dying because of his drug use and I wanted him to get better. So I wasn't bringing him anything in the hospital, but they thought that because I guess that they've seen a lot of that. I'm sure your wife knows. I mean, just because you go to the hospital doesn't mean that you stop using.
No,
like
they had to ban some people on her floor before because the lady would just keep bringing it into them.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was very scary. And like he lost a lot of weight. You know, he had chest tubes in, one on each side. He was getting dialysis for his kidneys so that he could take the heart medicine because the heart medicine was bad on the kidney. So it was just, it was a big mess, you know. And I think this is where God really started working in our lives because I was at such a desperate place at that point in time. Like I didn't want my kids to grow up without their father.
Yeah.
And I would hit my knees and just beg God, like, please save my husband. I don't want him to die. And I now look back on that and I believe that God not only saved him, but also me through those prayers, you know, because we are one in God's eyes. Yep. And so that was not the end of the journey, though. I mean, eventually...
I was going to ask, are we getting close to rock bottom, or does he get out and
close?
It continues on?
A little bit. So he got out of the hospital 6 months later.
Oh, 6 months.
And then...
Were you working during that time? Like, how were you...
You're just doing your thing.
I was doing my thing. We had gotten hit by a hurricane, and I had gotten a FEMA grant to stay in a hotel for free.
Nice.
So I was in the hotel the whole time. But I was trying to manage, you know, because I wanted to be there for him and I was trying to get my act together. So he gets out of the hospital, goes to jail, and then that started the sequence of events in his life that led him into recovery. And then for me, that started me going to rock bottom because I didn't have him anymore. Yep. I was a woman in active addiction. I could get what I want. Yep. And, you know, so I did. And that put me in some really dark places.
Yeah. If you love our High on Jesus merch you see us wear every episode, check out the link in the description below, highonjesus.org. It's a statement, a testimony, a reminder of who and what kept you free. It's not a trend, not a phrase, it's a lifestyle. Every shirt supports the mission. Every hoodie tells a story. Every purchase helps someone else find freedom. Wear the message, rep the movement, buy the merch today, stay high on Jesus.
Yeah.
Did he use again after the hospital?
Yes, immediately after the hospital.
I think that's what some people, like, they can't comprehend out there, because I have maybe, you know, some regular people that watch this that, you know, support us but didn't really, and they're, you know, experience that side of it, and they're like, how could you use after that? And I'm like, I can't explain it to you, man. You just don't care. I don't know how else to put it, man. You saved it. I had a bad hospital experience too, not to that extent, but could have lost my right arm, and, you know, I was planning the moves. The second I got out, it was back on, you know.
Right.
So during that 6 months, did you and your husband see the kids at all, or was your mom kind of keeping them?
My mom always did a good job of allowing us to be around when we were doing well, you know, and she let me live with her, like, periodically. I would stay there and then I would leave, like, depending on, you know, I would stay there until I started to become crazy, and then she would kick me out. And like, then I would come back.
She's gotta go.
Yeah. Yeah. But she did bring the kids to the hospital to see my husband when he was, you know, going through that. Because we didn't know if he was going to come out of it, you know. So, I mean, they were going up there to see their dad maybe for the last time. We didn't know. But, you know, on your point, Justin, I think that, like, we had lost our kids. We had lost all of our worldly possessions. He was on the brink of death. I mean, it was just, why wouldn't you stop?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, in any logical person's mind, that's what you do. But we didn't know that recovery was available. Like, we didn't know that was a thing. We just thought, like, this is the path that we are destined to be on, and had accepted that. Yeah. You know, we had surrendered to the addiction by that point in time. And so as soon as he got out, he used. And thank God, like, God intervened, you know, and he got arrested for stealing from Walmart 5 days later.
How did we go from jail or the hospital to jail?
One-way ticket.
Yep. Yeah,
so
one-way ticket.
Walmart,
yes.
And he's in jail. Yes.
Yep. And then he took a treatment court here in the area called Comprehensive Treatment Court. It's for people who have multiple issues, and he had multiple multiple issues by that point in time.
CTC court.
Yes, CTC court. And so he went in and out of jail over and over again, and that was his path to recovery. And then on my birthday in July of 2018, so my clean date's July 1st, and my my birthday is 7/19. So my clean date is 7/1/19, and my birth date is 7/19. So I always say that my clean date is the date that I was reborn. It's kind of the same day, but it was the day I was reborn. Literally.
Yeah.
I came up crying, screaming. It was painful. I mean, just like a real birth. But
what was that rock bottom moment for you? Where was it to the point where you're just like, I am done. I have to do something different. I surrender. Well, I don't know. What did it look like for you?
it was never when I was using, I mean, I went through every rock bottom that you can possibly imagine. And like I said, I had surrendered to the disease. So I didn't think that recovery was ever going to happen for me. It wasn't until I was in jail that I had that moment that I decided.
You went to jail as well.
Yep. So on my birthday of 2018, I got arrested. And at the time, it was horrible. And when I look back on that, I think that's like the best birthday present I could have ever gotten because it led me to recovery.
Right.
And it didn't happen right away, just like Stephen. Like he went in and out and I went in and out too. And then back in 2019, so a year later, I wind up back in jail for the fourth time that year. But this time was the time that was different because this time I wound up in medical of the jail. For anybody who's not been in medical, you're in essentially like a glass fishbowl and you're in there with a bunch of other people who are also kicking the habit. Yeah. And it is not pretty, not fun.
Yeah.
So that was my gift of desperation. Nobody would talk to me. I had violated probation along the way. My probation officer called DCF on me again. So now I'm looking at going to prison. I've had custody of my children removed. We are going through a judicial case and everybody's treating me like I'm a POS. Yep. So all of that combined gave me my gift of desperation. And then I found hope while I was in jail through meeting people like us, right? Like people who have been through it. And that's why it's so important for me to give that back because I wouldn't be here had somebody not given it to me.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned almost felt like you had that God moment while he was in the hospital begging for his life. Where does that circle back around as far as finding, your faith and in recovery too? Is it something that was a slow process for you as you started to get sober, or were you just like instantly, man, God's got me on this path? And
yeah,
what did it look like for you?
I think so. So when I was a kid, I grew up at church. My parents taught Sunday school. I went to First Baptist on Main Street in Sarasota as a kid. So I've always known the Lord, and it was never the problem that I thought God was like a horrible person or horrible God or anything. Like I never had a problem with my perception of God. It was the way that I thought God perceived me. Yeah. So I always felt so much shame and guilt that I couldn't come to him. But somehow I feel like I just always knew that he was there. So when I wound up in jail, I knew that's where I was supposed to be. Like I wasn't, anticipating getting out. Like I was right where I was supposed to be and I knew it. And I was okay with that. And I even feel like I knew that was part of my story. Like I knew God was going to do something with that one day. He would give me scriptures, or I would hear little God nuggets, like all of the things just started kind of happening when I was in the recovery pod. And I knew that that's where God wanted me.
My story to the T.
Amen.
Yep. I just have no words. So yeah.
Yeah.
I had the same type moment, Justin and his team came in and shared, about High on Jesus and Hand Up to Victory and ladies at NA, ladies at AA. And, almost everyone that I met in that room are still in my circle, including the COs that I get to talk to, on the phone to help others in the recovery pod. It's just amazing.
Yeah. God is good.
I know.
Yep.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So exactly. I mean, same. Like everybody that I met while I was in there is still a big part of my life today. And it was almost like God was perfectly orchestrating each person to plant the next seed that would blossom into what I am today and what my life looks like today. All of it started back then. Yeah.
I mean, just last week I walked in a meeting and the woman that actually gave me the drug test that took Tristan away, we got invited to the same meeting with a commissioner to ask, my views on things. Like it just, I don't know. It just, I don't know, divine appointments that he has set up that we have no idea that he has.
I can really relate to that. Yeah. So since I've been working, in the field now where I work with parents who've lost their kids, walking into the room, and I'm sure you can relate to this too. It's like walking into the room with the same people that once took my children away and the same people that once advocated for them to not be with me or put me in jail, and then sharing my expertise, like I see things in a way that they don't see them.
Right.
And it took some time to feel like I belong at the table. Now I know I belong at that table, but that was a journey too.
Nope.
Yeah. And I'm thankful, I'm thankful that things happened the way that they did, because had it not have happened that way, I wouldn't be here today.
Amen.
Yeah.
So you're in the recovery pod. Is he still in jail at this point? And when do you guys get out? Is it like, hey, we're back, baby, we're both in recovery, or was it a little rocky? And,
Like, I'm not going to lie, it's definitely not.
No.
So what happened?
So it's actually funny because what little thing that I learned while I was incarcerated, he was in jail. And I learned that if you're in jail with your spouse, that you guys can have visits like in the jail.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
So
gotta be a Sarasota.
I was going to say,
Sarasota thing. Yeah.
100%. These guys in Sarasota, I go in we got a vending machine. We got all this.
we got an iPad.
All massages and conjugal visits. You guys never have to leave, man. Great.
More than you get at the halfway house.
Yeah. Movies. You get movies. Yeah.
Crazy, man. Ain't got nothing happening at Manatee. I guarantee you that.
But they say the food's terrible at Sarasota. As
Yes,
opposed to
it's
Manatee.
terrible.
That's what I
Yeah.
said. I was like, when I was in Manatee, I was like, how can this get any worse? But
yeah,
Sorry.
so we're both in the jail together, and I had set up a visit for us, but before I got the visit, he had court, and he went in front of the judge, and they had made like an administrative error, and he was going to get back released to the treatment center that he was in, and he told the judge, I don't want to go back there. I don't think I should throw the place under the bus right now, but it's not a local place. It's in the middle of Florida somewhere, and they were doing some unethical stuff.
Gotcha.
So he said, I don't want to go back there. I'd rather stay in the jail. And so the judge was like, well, let me think about that for a minute. And they did like a recess. And he's like, well, actually, I'd rather go back to my recovery community, because by that point in time, he had been in and out and had been through a couple treatment centers and had met some people in recovery. So long story short, the judge let him out, and he went into a treatment center.
Cool.
And then I wound up getting sentenced to treatment, or I'm sorry, he went to a halfway house. So I wound up getting sentenced to treatment, and that's kind of where we started talking again. So he would come and visit me, and I remember him saying to me that I don't care what happened in the past. Like, I don't care what you did, what I did. I just want to work this out, and I just want to be a family. And I was so,
Nice.
yeah, I was so happy about that, because I didn't think that was possible, because I had done some really ratchet stuff.
Understand.
I was pretty bad, but I wanted that too. And we decided that if that was going to work, that we had to focus on ourselves for a while, because I tried fixing him for a long time, and that never worked either.
Definitely not a marriage tip to have a great marriage. Don't try to fix your spouse.
Nope. Even today, it doesn't work.
Great for me at all.
You can say it, right? Over and over again. But if somebody else says it, it lands.
100%. Yeah.
Like, I told you that 3 weeks ago. Yeah. So that's what we did. We started working on ourselves and visiting with the kids and working our services, and everything kind of started to line up after that. I went to a recovery home. He went to a recovery home. We only saw each other at meetings. And then I was also on house arrest. So that was the only time I could see him. But then we started kind of dating again, and like getting to know each other again, because it was like getting to know a new person. We were both completely different and also the same.
Yeah.
So it was like reintroducing myself to somebody that I loved so much and had known for my whole life, but it was a beautiful love story. And then we saved up enough money to move in together. We moved back in together on Valentine's Day of 2020.
Oh.
right after that, COVID happened. And so all
Saw each other a lot.
yeah, a lot. We were actually very lucky. We were both essential workers at the time. So both of us were still able to go to work. Thank God for that, because it was the only time I could leave the house because I was still on house arrest.
Oh, goodness.
But then we had court for our kids shortly after that. We had court over Zoom, and then we were reunified April 8th of 2020. So it's been a little over 6 years now that the kids have been home. And yeah, I mean, ever since then, it's just been like all of the good things, right, that recovery offers, all the promises. Yeah.
So my question is there a time when you guys were so used to using together, now you're sober, it's a bad day, bad days, bad season, and hey, you know, I don't know, it's a partner in crime. It was natural that we got something. Did that make it harder at times to stay on the right path, or was it easier to have someone that was locked in with you?
Well, no, because I've never really went to him about, that was our biggest fear. I will just say, like, going back and moving back in together, every single person in our life was like, don't do it. You're not ready yet. Neither one of us were even a year in recovery at that point in time. So we were coming up to it, but we weren't quite yet. But we had to do it because we were trying to get our kids back, and we were on a timeline. So we did. But that was the biggest fear. Like, what if I'm having a bad day? What if he's having a bad day? Yeah. You know, what do we do? But I will say, and even today, like when I'm having those kind of thoughts, I never talk to him about it. And he really never talks to me about it, but we do talk to people about it. We just don't bring that kind of stuff to each other because we keep our recovery outside of our marriage. It helped us, you know, when we moved back in together, we set some non-negotiables and boundaries because that's what was suggested. So we had a contingency plan. If he were to use, or if I were to use, whoever that person that used would have to leave the house until they went to detox treatment, halfway house, or did whatever they needed to do to get themselves back together. Because once the kids were back in the home, there would not be any using anymore. And if somebody crossed that line, they had to go.
Good.
Amen.
Thankfully, we have not had to cross that bridge, but we had a plan, you know, and we had some non-negotiables, no cheating, no violence, no name calling, like none of the things we used to do. Yeah. We had to stop those behaviors. Now that was a journey, right? Like learning how to have a healthy relationship after years of a toxic relationship. Yeah. We had to learn how to communicate again, how to not blow up, how to walk away when you're mad, you know, like, yeah, those were some interesting times, but yeah, I mean, we definitely like go to our own support network and don't intermix our recovery. And that's worked for us. I never tell him, call your sponsor. You need to go to a meeting. Never. Don't do that.
Good. These are great marriage tips.
I'm guilty. I'd be like, when was the last time you talked to your sponsor? You know?
Yeah.
Good suggestions.
I know Austyn wanted to ask you a couple things.
Yeah, so I know that the NA and your faith are both, you know, part of your recovery. Did you do one or both at the same time? I know, like, NA, the first time I got clean, I was like, Team NA, I owe you NA. And I always had God in my life, you know. It's just part of my walk, but I never... This time of me getting clean, I had God in the mix from the beginning. So I just wondered if that was something that you walked through too. Did you have it all in one? Because there's so many people that I know that are still clean without the faith. So I just wondered in your walk how that is defined.
This is my opinion. And I don't think it's an opinion, but I don't think you can have real lasting recovery without Jesus. That's just my
Amen.
experience.
Yep.
I had no idea what you were going to say. So I just wondered because
Amen.
There's so many different paths to recovery. But for me, I couldn't do it without it.
Right. And on that note, I think it is our job as a believer to show people what that walk looks like and to love them with the love of Christ and to make them want it, like attraction versus promotion, you know, like to love them and you know, just show them what this life means, because I think that is, from what I've heard anyways, is a lot of the issues that people have is they feel like it's being shoved down their throat or whatever. And when I first got into recovery, I was very NA, and I still am very NA because NA is my path to recovery. NA is Narcotics Anonymous, for anybody who doesn't know. And that is very much my path to recovery. But I've learned there's a lot of gray area, not gray area with like, can I use or can I not use? No, don't use no matter what.
Right.
But there is a lot of gray area with some things that I agree with and some things that I think are more of like dogma than what the fellowship really teaches.
Right.
There's a lot of people who like do push things down your throat and shame you and push people away. And I don't want to be that person. So I try to lead by example and love people where they're at and share my love for Jesus and what worked for me in hopes that somebody will ask about it or we could talk about it or you can find that for you too. Because I do believe that I wouldn't have this and nobody can really have lasting recovery without Jesus. And I've seen it so many times. I have watched people like try recovery and they're missing something and I see it and I know what it is, but they just can't grasp it, I saw this one video that was this guy talking about like how addicts are worshipers. Have you seen that video?
I think so.
You have to send it to me.
But we worshiped a drug for so long. We surrendered to the disease, like we were searching for that spiritual thing that could fill the void inside of us.
Yeah.
And that thing is Jesus. It's Jesus. That's what it is.
Amen.
But, and we can find recovery, but I don't think that it's really like lasting real recovery without it. And that's just my experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a different path to it. The faith actually took a little bit of time for me, to get to that point. I believe, whole long story, not going into mine today, but, I chose to go to AA. I just saw more, I was drawn there. I saw more people that I thought were like serious about God, sobriety. And so that's all I did. I just surrounded myself with the men that I knew were all about the 12 steps, all about God. I saw the fruits in their life. That's what I wanted. And then same thing, man. I just try to live my life in a manner that hopefully someone else sees something different in me and they want to chase that as well.
And look at you now. I love that. And you are such a perfect example of like why we just live it out every day, because I've seen it, like God is working on me because there have been times in my life where I've like distanced myself from somebody who's not a believer. And then I saw them radically be saved. And then I thought to myself, or maybe God convicted me, like, why wasn't I loving them before that happened? So now I try, and I'm not perfect by any means, but I try because you never know when that light is going to come on. You never know when somebody is going to find it. It's going to be something you say or do.
A seed that you may have planted unknowingly.
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
So for me as a mom, I want to know. So we went over kind of like all the things that you are involved in, or as a mother, you are also, if I remember correctly, you're on the board at GRASP too, and you want to tell them what GRASP is in case.
Yeah, you want to hear a funny story? This is how I got involved with GRASP.
Your dad and Michael are just
yeah. It's my dad. So my dad is also a big part of my recovery story. And I don't think he'll mind me saying, especially connected to GRASP, he's also in recovery himself.
Amen.
He's got 20 years in recovery.
Awesome.
That is so
That's cool, man. I didn't even realize it was your dad for
first couple of times. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's also got 20 years in recovery. And so he knows firsthand what this disease is like.
Yeah.
And we had our own journey. But when I was using and I was in Georgia, my parents were like just done at that point in time. And Pat Harrison, who was a part of GRASP, was the only person that would take my phone calls from the South Carolina Department of Corrections. And he talked to me, and eventually when I got out, he got me a bus pass and he got me back down here to Florida, and he put me in a halfway house. And although I was not ready at that time, I was there for a little while. The seed was planted. And then I went back out. And then when I got into recovery about 3 years ago, my dad invited me to be on the board with GRASP. And so I had that personal connection to it by that point in time. And my dad has been involved with it for years and years and years. But essentially what we do is we help people, very much like what you guys do. Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. So we just help people in their first 2 weeks of recovery to eliminate that barrier of like, how do I get into a halfway house? How do I get that started? So we just help them with their first 2 weeks of rent. If they need, work boots or
Cell phone,
yeah, whatever that is, and we're working on working closer with the people, because we used to just work with those partners, but now we're working with the people, and we have a new director of operations, and so we're
very nice.
She's great. Yeah, I love her. Yeah. We're like, we need an Austyn.
Oh, no. Be careful what you ask for.
He's a blessing.
But no, thank you for sharing on that, because we work closely with them. You know, for the clients that we can't serve, y'all are able to do that, and it's just been a blessing. But adding that hat on, how do you do the mother, or be the mother, the wife, the cooking? I'm gonna go there.
No, I don't cook.
Okay.
I'm getting tips from your wife on that one.
I guess you could throw the dishes in there too. Then, well, if you're not cooking, there's no dishes.
Yeah.
But how do you separate all of that to wear all of those hats and pour into making time to be a sponsor? I have a lot of women that ask me.
Yeah.
And my thing is usually like, you can call me if something's on fire or whatever, but I don't know how to shift those gears yet. I mean, I'm coming up on 3 years, praise God, but maybe I'm just not there yet, to be able to do that. So if you have any advice for anyone listening, and selfishly for me, how do you do that?
Wow, that's such a great question, because there is no, I mean, I'm sure you can relate to this. There's really no easy answer to that. It's like, what is the priority?
Fear and trembling. Friend.
Yes.
That's what he tells me all the time.
Yeah. When I was early in recovery, I was sponsoring everybody, doing every service commitment. I was the GSR at 2 home groups, panel leader of this place. Like, I was doing all the things. Yes to everything. Yeah. And then all of these like blessings started to come in my life, and all these new responsibilities. And then I had a revelation at some point that I got into recovery ultimately so I could be a mom, so that I could be present with my family.
Yeah.
And I realized that I wasn't being present with my family. And so I started to let some things go responsibly, but still just the same, like letting some things go. And then when I started working full time, I had to I think that's what it is, right? Like, it's about balancing, like competing priorities. What do I need to let go of? What do I pass on to the next person so they can have that experience that I did? Like letting people do what they're best at and letting them grow in their season so that I can go on and do something else. And now my new thing is during the week, I'm at home with my kids after work, because I don't have the capacity to like work. I go hard, like it's just who I am. I pour wholeheartedly into what I do. So during the day, I'm fully committed to that. And by the evening, my brain is like mush. So yes, I know you guys do.
I just can't do that yet. I don't know if it's control. I do have control issues. I'm saying that on camera. But I don't know how to turn it off when I do get home.
Yeah.
It's a struggle.
It's a practice. It's a practice. And I don't know, I definitely don't always get it right. But when I do too much, then I feel it now. Like when I was 3 years clean, I didn't feel it as much because I had so much drive and so much in me. And now I think it's balancing out. Yeah. You feel it.
Yeah. The waking up at 3 a.m., getting 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night. I mean, I believe it was necessary in this season, and God gave me the ability to do it, to build where we're at, but it don't work like that for me anymore. I get 3 4 hours of sleep, I'm like nodding out in the middle of the day like I'm on dope or something.
People are like, what's wrong with him?
Exactly. And it's happened. Honestly, that was one of the wake up calls, because I know I was nodding out in front of someone, and you probably can't convince them that I didn't use, and I was like, this is dumb. I can't do this. So
one of my mentors from Oasis Church actually told me, if you're saying yes to something, you're saying no to something else.
That's right.
So you just got to make sure that all your yeses are for the right people and not
Yeah.
always the same people, and leaving family, out of it.
And people pleasing is a manipulation. So why am I saying yes? Is it because I really want to say yes, or is it because I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, or because I want to be the one that does the things? Like God has worked on me with that, because I was doing so much, and I've shared about this like publicly before. Like I had to stop doing so much service, and we tell people like never say no to service. I had to say no to service. Like I had to
100%.
stop doing all of that because it wasn't healthy
Agreed.
for me. I could be addicted to anything.
Yes.
So yeah.
It's
but-
just like you said. I truly believe it's seasons. And
Yes.
in the first, that answer doesn't apply in the first couple of years, because you really shouldn't probably have much downtime. You should be in recovery or involved with something as much as possible to build that foundation. But then when God starts opening doors and you got responsibilities and family needs you, it's like same thing with my kids. It's like I pick my addiction over you. Now I'm going to pick my recovery over you.
Right.
And I know that we have to. That's what I'm saying. It's not one size fits all for where everyone's at. But of course that has to come first, or we're nothing. But
Right.
at some point, I'm going to say no to some things and put the phones to the side, because I'm going to show them I'm here. I'm spending time with you. You guys matter. You guys are important. And a big thing, one of my mentors told me a long time ago, he's like, hey, Justin, there's going to be people to help from now till the day you die, my friend. They'll always be there. And just when you help them, they'll be the more in line. Your family is what's important. Your family needs you. Your family needs you there. So,
That's
just
real.
Prioritizing things. And then guess what? You'll be going good for a while, and then they'll get out of whack a little bit. Then you got to reprioritize them. And it's just
And then he'll
constantly
say,
learning.
if I can save you 10 years of misery, take these suggestions.
Yes. Yes, that's so true. Yeah.
So mentorship is one thing that he is definitely, that's been a big part of my life. It's
one.
not just
Yeah.
going to a meeting and listening. You actually want to seek out people that are, what do you call them? Like that are well off in whatever area of your life. Like you don't go to somebody and ask about a marriage that's had 3 divorces, or whatever.
Yeah.
You seek out people that are
Have
successful
what you
in
want, are successful in the areas you want to be successful in.
100%.
That's a huge part.
Yep. Yeah. And now I feel like I am more focused on mentoring the next generation of somebody to come and do that behind me. Like speaking of sponsorship, I want to mentor my sponsees to do that. We all have our seasons, and then they can do that with their sponsees, and it just continues that ripple effect.
Yeah.
I
Awesome.
want to mentor someone to take over some responsibilities. Austin. So tell us real quick about the book. So I know you
I
wrote it. Was it a combination of people, or was it just you?
No, it was a combination of people. So my friend Melissa from Sober Now, she is an author, and I think God wants me to write a whole book. And this was like my little dipping my
Test
toe
run?
into the water. Yeah.
I
It was
read it.
really cool, actually. You did. I love that.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I wrote about a season of change, which you'll have to buy the book if you want to read
Yep,
it.
it's called A Season of Change, yeah?
No, that's my chapter.
Oh,
Okay.
Your chapter. What's the book
It's
called?
called Faith Unchained, Climbing to Freedom Through God's Grace. And I co-authored it with about 15 other women. And so we met each month for 6 months and prayed together and wrote together. And then we went through the editing process together and then the publishing process together. Like, it was really a great experience. And yeah, I think God is calling me to but I'm busy right now. When the kids grow up and move out, which is going to be happening soon. Yes,
Making notes.
that's when it's going to happen, because I do believe I'm supposed to write a book, but this is not the season for that. The season will come when God calls me to do it.
Feel the same way.
Yeah.
God's been talking to me about something, but we'll get there when it's time. I'm in 11-year-old daughter mode, so I feel you.
Yes.
That's a good
Yes. I have a 16 and a 17-year-old now. My 17-year-old will be 18 in a couple of weeks. So, that's
Senior coming up next year.
Senior, yes. Every moment that I get, I am just embracing, because I know these days don't last forever, and I want to be there for every moment that I can.
Isn't it crazy when you see your child graduate high school?
Yes. I cry thinking about it. I got a letter from the school that's like, welcome, senior class of 27. And I'm just crying reading the
You
letter.
have the days when you're like, I can't wait.
Yeah. And then the funny part is Steve came in the bedroom the next morning crying, holding the letter. Yes.
Full circle moment. You're
Yeah.
back in the house and they've got,
Yeah.
you're there for it.
Yeah. Those are the blessings. Yeah.
So we got to talk about this. You went viral on social media.
Yes.
Pamela Pumpkins.
I look forward to it.
Pumpkin.
I'm like, there's a holiday coming up. What's Pamela doing?
Yeah.
She's like, so we got to do a Pamela Pumpkin something. I don't know if my fiance is gonna go with that or not.
Yes, with my friend Gretchy. Yes.
That's cool.
She's a riot.
Yeah, we have to do it every year.
That's awesome.
I know Pastor Joe was in on it last year. I
Yep,
think that was-
Pastor Joe. Yep.
Seeing that we're trying to do some stuff ourselves. I know I'm not as good looking as you, so it's a little harder for me to get.
We should do a collab, a
Let's do
Pamela
it.
Pumpkin collab.
We need your help.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
But I know you were doing like a live weekly podcast as well. You actually asked me to be on it one time.
Yes.
That's super cool. And then you kind of shared with me, you know, you had your moment with it. It
Yep.
served its purpose, but then you almost felt like it became too much or a little
Yes.
bit kind of what you said. Can you just like elaborate on the story of, was it on purpose that you tried to go viral or did it just happen? And then like what happened after that?
I'm so glad that you brought this up because I think this is really important. So I started out posting on social media. I didn't post a lot. Like my third video went super viral and I was
crazy.
just blown away. And I'm like, oh, this is what God wants me to do.
Yeah.
You know, share my story. You can reach all of these people that are holding their phone, probably up all night doing meth. And then they see this and they're like, wow, I could, you know. So it was really exciting.
I can see it. You're a magnetic person. Like,
Yeah.
I see like people.
So I've had people
that don't
tell
know
me,
you. Yeah.
I've had people tell me that when they were using, they saw my videos and it was like either convicting them or giving them hope. And I'm like, all right, that was God. That was God. So I started sharing my story more often. And then I got into this like Reels bonus program, which can, you know, encourage me a little more to do it because I was getting paid really well to do it. And then I got this job offer a couple years into it. And I started going back and forth with, does God want me to like keep going on social media and have this kind of wider net cast where I can plant a little seed of hope, but there's never any follow up? I mean, sometimes there's conversations, but it's not really like pouring into people, you know? Like, is this what God wants me to do? Or do I go this way where I'm serving in my local community and I'm really making an impact? And I know I'm making an impact. And I went back and forth with it for a while. And there was also an element, I'm just going to be honest with you, there was also an element of ego involved in that. You know what I'm saying? Like I got 375,000, 100,000 followers, you know, and like 150 over here. And it's like, it is, you know, I battled with my ego on that. And that was part of it. And then I thought, you know, I watched somebody else, and I won't say who it is, I watched somebody else that I know go through a divorce right around that time. And then I thought to myself, like, my kids don't want to be seen on social media. They're in high school now. Like, do their friends really need to know their mom is a drug addict? You know, like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Am I doing this for me or am I doing this for somebody else? And yeah, maybe I was doing it for somebody else, but I just felt like I wasn't meant to be anymore. And so it had become an addiction in a way, you know, because I had to keep up with the algorithm and I had to learn, like, you know, when to post, what time, the length of the video, and then come back to the comments. Like, it's a whole job. Y'all know it's a job. Yes.
For sure. That's why it's hard to keep up with.
Yeah.
It is, unless it's all you're doing.
And it changes constantly. Like the algorithm constantly changes. So I was like searching on like the newest change and the viral trend and the music and like all of the things that go with it. And so then I decided I'm only going to post when I want to post. And so then I started backing up, backing off. And now it's been since Pamela Pumpkin in Christmas since I posted anything, you know. And it's funny because I was just thinking about it the other day, like maybe I want to make a post because I'm coming up on an anniversary and maybe I will. But I just felt like God was bringing me into a new season. And sometimes to go into the new, you have to let go of the old.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. Yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah, for sure. So I can relate to everything that you're saying there. And I've asked myself the same question, honestly, because I really believe that it's possible. I see other people, even in good genres, quote unquote, do numbers and like really reach a lot of people. And I think what we do is really good here. So I'm trying. Sometimes I'm like, am I just doing it just to hit a number for myself, or am I doing it to really inspire people? And sometimes like I took some of your advice and I was like, all right, what's trending and this and that? And it's like, seems like it's like, and what we do, it's like cursing or crude humor or like maybe we could do something funny. I don't know, but those are like the top things. And then it's like, I'd almost have to like sell out a little bit, quote unquote.
How do we keep our Jesus and get this?
That's
like,
so true. Yes.
So,
the most popular creators always use controversy as a way to grow. They're constantly like talking back to people, like making drama, like taking you along. Yeah. So you're right. Do you want to sell out to have it, or just do it the way that God wants you to do it, and whoever sees it is meant to be, and bring them along for the journey? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny you say that. So one of the best reels I did was you said like do a little intro. So I was like, oh, the Christians stabbed me in the back, and that's how I opened it. And I said a real story. They were coming at me for no reason on YouTube, but that's like the controversial. That was like the one that got the most watch. It's so funny how that works.
Yep.
But I don't know. I've seen people that they were trying, and maybe they're trying to be the next social media star, swear they were going to be, and they completely fell off. But maybe there is someone out there that wants to get a message out there, and they don't think like they can push it past the friends list much. You got any advice for me? I guess we'll do it. Austyn, like, do you have any advice for me or anyone else out there that's trying to do the same thing?
For anyone else out there, I would say to thine own self be true. So like what I did was I just shared my story. Yeah. Like sharing that darkness, sharing like the rock bottom, the hard things that we've been through. I think everybody's drawn to a good love story. And I think that's why our videos did so well, because anytime I bring my husband on, people just loved it. They ate it up. So you got to bring Bonnie on. That's my advice to you.
That's good. I appreciate that.
But yeah, to anybody else out there, I would just say like, be real, be you, be authentic, like tell your story, not all at once. In short little segments, tell little stories about yourself where you have a collective whole story. Respond to people. The whole idea is you're building community. Yeah. People want to feel like they are a part of something, a part of your story, a part of the journey, a part of your community. So respond to them, like say meaningful things, not just like thanks or like little, smiley face, like talk to them, like make them feel part of, because if you are doing it for the right reasons, then that is the reason. Right. So respond back to them, you know what I mean? And just be real and authentic, and make sure that you check your ego, because that was what I struggled with. And I think a lot of people that I've seen blow up. So I also met a lot of people online. I met a lot of recovery content creators. Yeah. And I would say 2 out of 10 were actually real. Melissa from Sober Now being one, and the other Justin from the Hope Shot being the other. And the rest of them were frauds. I mean, literally, like they weren't walking what they were saying. So, to thine own self be true.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
It is good stuff. Well, thank you so much for sharing all that with us, being transparent and honest. And it's such a good story, and so much that each of us can get out of that. I know I got a lot out of that today. So I'm thinking maybe to close it off, I think a lot of our audience has actually probably been in recovery for a decent amount of time. And they're hearing how you seem to have found your calling and your purpose. So I'm wondering if you wouldn't mind looking in that camera and telling someone out there that maybe they feel like, man, I'm sober, but I feel like I'm stuck at a meaningless job, or I just haven't seen to find my purpose or calling yet. Maybe you can say some words to them.
Yes, purpose is so important in life. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in service to others. So ask yourself, like, what are you good at? Maybe you're not the person that's going to do all the public speaking, and that's okay. Maybe you're somebody that, feels for other people and can be a listening ear. Maybe you're good at working with animals. Maybe you're good at cooking. Like, whatever you're good at, take what you're good at and what you're passionate about and do it for somebody else, and that becomes your purpose. And I truly believe that purpose is the key to recovery. I heard this saying one time that complacency lies in the gulf between desperation and passion. So we come into recovery because we're desperate, but we stay in recovery because we found what we're passionate about and we found our purpose. Take what you're good at, do it for somebody else.
If you like that episode, there's more where that came from. Check out any of these 2 other episodes, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you always are informed when we drop something new.